I'll remind you in 8 minutes.
Good morning. It is Sunday, June 22nd, 2025, and it's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist, and it is hot. How hot? 103 heat index. I'm sweating in my own house. Holy smokes. Is the market hot? No, the market isn't hot at all. It is not hot. Let's take a look at it, though. Our NextGen portfolio is down Friday. You know, when we say today, it's a Friday. We had Juneteenth in there, the holiday of independence. Year to date, we're at 4.4, considering Israel and the U.S. bombed Iran. Oh, we only bombed the 3 nuclear sites. They got everybody all cleared. They gave them plenty of notice. You know what? You destroyed refineries, man. I tell you. I did a lot of stuff on geopolitics. When you take away a man's money, that's when they get mad. You know, I was learning a long time. Never mess with a person's money, because then, different ball game. You know, what are we doing? Well, we're beating all the averages. Look at us. The little blue line is up there. We weren't there. Remember, we were down. So, will it continue again? We are planning for a recession. We are planning for hard times, and that's what you got to plan for. Because if you don't have hard times, you are going to find out the hard way. Hopefully, it's not going to be 20,000 and 2001 and 2002. Oh my God, those are horrible years. Let's go through some of the things. The trend, yeah, we're ahead of the NASDAQ. Of course, I got a fly going around in the professionalism of our studio here. Up 1.5%. It's still not bad. You know, if it gets out at the end of the year and we're up 4%, I might take that. You know, yeah, you could put money in a bond and get, 4.5, but it's a tough year. I mean, look at this. I mean, we were down here. This is the Qs, the NASDAQs. Can't quite get up there, break that thing. Now we're starting to roll over, as I call it. Got a nice rounded down here. I don't know. I mean, I'm not optimistic because of all this nonsense happening on the world stage. The world stage is not going to be good, and, the indicators, I mean, look at this. Oil, $73 a barrel. It will be over 80 this summer. What? We're going to go up 15% or 10%? Yeah. Mark my words, we are going to go up 10%. You can't kill this issue with Iran and destroy the refineries, and 1/3 of the oil went to China without affecting the prices of gasoline. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough summer. Don't drive a lot. If you're going to drive now, because it's going to be expensive later. The 2-year note's going flat. It's been around 3.5. As we get in times of trouble and there's a lot of fear, the dollar gets weaker, which means the interest rates go higher. Somebody's saying the 10-year could go up to 6%, which means 2 years would be about 5.5. Woo, that's a spicy meatball. I don't know if I want to hear that. That's not good at all. So that's why I think we're all in session. Gold still safe haven, 3,300. Kind of flat. Kind of a flat week. I think Juneteenth just kind of took out a lot of the air of the bubble, and just you got to one day break in the middle of the week and stuff. Every $10 in the price of oil adds 0.5 to the consumer price index. So that's the inflation. We could have unemployment go up and inflation go up, and nobody wants to talk about a hike. Nobody wants to talk about a hike. They said we need a cut. Oh my God, this could be ugly. Look at oil. I mean, oil is, ugly.
This is a reminder. Take medicine.
I will take medicine. Alexa, stop. But this is just odd. I mean, it's down. We dropped. April. The tariff day was just horrible, and then come back up. The war got a lot of premium. Remember, we were 80 over here with a nice economy. It was nice here. It's going to be up here, because of the issue. But if we lose employment, less jobs, less roads, less trucks, okay, I understand the math. I mean, it's going to be in there. But I just said this could be a lot uglier, and it will be uglier. So we, just think, oops, come on. Let's take a look at NVDA. New Taiwan server plant sold out of capacity through 2026. Wait, my watch says 2025. They're sold out next year. Hi, I'd like a Big Mac and fries. Well, you're going to have to come back in 2027. What? Oh my God. Talk about Blackwell Rubin AI, Rubin's NextGen. It ain't even out there. Don't even. They always talk about it, but it's in there. And NVDA, again, kind of slow. Want to base a little while. We came up from almost a 85-ish maybe up to 104. I mean, that's a big jump. Got to get your breath. Again, the trend broke the trend line. Now we got to see if we can pop the 150 line right up over here. A little bit over 150. Microsoft, AI is going to file a lawsuit. This tech stuff lawsuit. I just ignore it all. Really doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect a lot of people, and you just get through it and go on. Anti-competitive practices. Well, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, OpenAI's got a lot of debt too. That's one of the things. He wants money. He wants to do a lot, but not a public company yet. Again, Microsoft's doing pretty good. I mean, that's a positive thing. See, this is what we want to see NVIDIA do. You come up to the line, and you break this little previous high. This is the previous high over here, around 470. We want to break that line. Break it, clean, go poosh, right through it, because that means what you want to do. It is so counterintuitive to most people. Why would you buy a stock at a high? Because that's how they go higher. If you wanted the stock to double, it has to break the old record. Otherwise, it just stays flat and flat and flat, or goes down and dwindles to whatever. You want to buy stocks that are doing well and break records. Boeing. Oh, remember that one of the 3 deals? We're going to cut down. We're going to buy 25 planes, billions of dollars, and the war changed it. I mean, this is clearly a war effort. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of upset. Apparently the regime changed. I was gone the week, so I don't really know what's happening sometimes. With all the drama, and I watch the big stories because it is like everywhere. I'm sure if you're a junkie like this on news, you can't get enough of it. But man, I just tune it out because there's 1,001 billions of people talking about it. I don't need one more person talking about it. But I'm gonna go back to Airbus. This is a killer. This was one of the things they went overseas to talk about, and this was one of the big 4 deals that he got. And now the deal's gone because of the war. The war. I don't even talk about the war. Yeah, Micron, boy, I tell you what, the high accelerators for the AI, people like the product. It's going up, broke through the trend. Record gross profit per unit, up comp store sales. I mean, pretty good. Remember, you can't get all the tech. I mean, it's running now, but as the recession goes, a lot of stuff could go flat as people get more conservative on spending. And then let's take a look at some other stuff. Chevron. I don't know why they just don't have it as a V. Chikes. We're gonna go in lithium extraction. Well, this is, some people call it like diversification.
This is a reminder. What do you think the gasoline is going to be for price-wise?
This
is a reminder. What do you think the gasoline is going to be for price-wise?
It's like $3.39. I wouldn't be surprised $3.79, $3.99. If there's over $4, people are going to howl. They're going to howl and scream. Now California is over $4 already, but I just don't think it's going to be. Nothing is good. Higher prices, more unemployment, more higher interest rates. Where's the good news? Where's the good news? We don't have any Christmas presents. Well, you only need 2 anyway. Lithium. There's a thing Peter Lynch used to call diversification. You got a good company making a lot of money in oil and gas. Let's go buy some lithium plants and go in there and get EV batteries because you know nothing about it, but you're gonna go in there. Maybe they'll do good. Maybe. I'm not a fan of this. Stick with what you know. Be better at it. Garden, Olive Garden doing well. Those breadsticks and unlimited salads, it's not bad. But this is what we like on solid stock. It's been solid. I mean, look at this slope. Nice trending uptrend. Nice following channel upward. Times are good until they're not. People want to go out. People who are working hard like to go out at least a little while, go out and get out something to eat, not just sit at home and try to count every penny you got. Sometimes you have to be in that position. I've been there. I mean, I grew up poor, so I know what it's like to be, like, hey, how much do we have for this? How much do we have for this? Tesla went down 4% because they're going to pause output at the Austin for the Cybertruck. Well, no kidding. Nobody wants to buy the damn thing because it's kind of like a symbol of chainsaw cutting Al. When Elon had the chainsaw up there doing the stuff and cut a lot of people. You didn't care if they lost their job. I mean, you can't do that to people. People are not widgets. They get excited when they lose their job, and so when you get resentment, you're the face of it. Webway said it could reach 2 trillion. Well, so could a lot of other stocks. Google and Meta. Those are stocks I'd bet hit 2 million before Tesla. But like I said, it's been up and down. I mean, okay, election day, pretty good. Then it's gone down. It came back. I don't know. Sales are bad in China. Sales are bad in the United States. Oh, well, you got Optimus. That's going to sell. He's going to get 1 million of those right out the bat in 2030, and robo-taxi and everything else. And he made peace with the president, so maybe, we'll see. SWBI. Oh, no, that's Swiss and Messin. Swiss and Messin, how many guns did I have? No. He asked, how many bullets did I have left in my revolver? And all this excitement, I kind of lost tracks. Did I have 5 shots or 6 shots? But, punk, you have to answer the question. Do you feel lucky? Well, they ain't feeling too lucky with Smith & Wesson with this little drop. Boom. No bullets left. And this is after another boom after earnings. Look at this. Boom after this earning. Boom after this earning. Why? Because people are spending. Remember, guns are cheap, but they're not cheap. And I watched rifling close by because people are like, wow, go $30 to go shoot at a range. The box of bullets cost $35 for a pack of 50, and then you want to buy a nice Swiss and Messin, and that's $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, whatever. It's a lot of money, and that's why people, I think, it's in there. There's no fear. The president's like not going to stop anything with guns, so you don't. People buy on the fear that they're going to take it away. There's no taking it away. This group, so that's why people are getting in there. Circle stock. You could watch. I watched this thing. Going to be the stable coin, but this is the trouble. Why would Circle be the one that wins? I know it's big. I know it's out there. Okay, but look at this thing. It's pricey, and it's $100 going up to $240. I mean, you could have bought this thing at $100, doubled your money. But you got to remember, this is kind of like GameStop. Goes up, go down, go up and down. You got the stomach for it? Go ahead. The money was on the first day. Everybody's waiting for the Gina. It's going to open it up. Everything's going to get in there. I don't know. If I'm going to bet on anybody, I'm going to bet on Walmart and Amazon to get the stable coins. That's where the money's at. Kroger liked everybody out there. Good conference call. Everybody liked the conference call. Kroger. We don't have a Kroger in our area. I mean, if you go like 16 miles, you got a Kroger, but doing well. I mean, not a bad stock, well managed, and like I said, hit the profit and trails well. So again, you look at this thing. Boy, this is kind of like what you want. Upward channel, nice slope in 200-day moving average, and one of the top leaders after you get in there. But ICE not bigger than Walmart, not bigger than Amazon. Now we're not in Amazon. Man, we had to cut one of them. So Accenture, the remnants of Arthur Anderson. I go back a long time ago with Arthur Anderson. Reinvention Services, going to focus on AI projects. Okay, where's my AI hat? I can't find my AI hat. We're going to put the AI hat on. Now we're going to go in there. 8% revenue growth. That's good. That's good. Consulting business, 8%. I know what consulting is like, so I do it. So if you get 8%, that's a good solid year. You don't want to have negative years. Oh, those are bad because then things happen that you don't want to happen. Let's take a look at 200 moving average. So it's below there. A lot of upside left, And, like I said, lighter bookings. That's all it took. And I'm going to tell you this. I look 6 months ahead of my bookings. And July is lightest of all the 6 months. October, spotty. And somebody says, you always worry about it. I says, yeah, because if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid, and what are you going to do? You can't pay bills with no money. So, this is the things that the revenue people, they got to make the money. If they don't, it's not good.
This is a reminder. Rethink the interest rates are going to go off much higher.
Yes.
This is a reminder. Rethink the interest rates are going to go
What do you
off
want
much higher.
The 10-year, is at 4.5. I think we can get to 6. That's going to freeze buying houses. The people who are on credit are going to be miserable. You're going to be worse if you're trying to buy. I mean, everything with high interest rates is no win. No win. Because inflation is going to be much more than 3%. So, I mean, this is kind of like the path. How many states have we have to get into the recession, high interest rates, where nothing is good? You got to buy defensive stocks. We're just trying to survive the period. If we lose 3 or 4%, and we lose 3 or 4, but we want to be able to get through this. We don't want to be down 20, 40%, like some analysts were in 2000, in 2001, and 2002. I watched them. These are the hotshot guys from 97, 98, 99, and boom, minus 40%. And not of the minus 40%, minus 40%. 3 years in a row, minus 40%. We don't want to be those people, because they're chasing the momentum. Bitcoin, of course, not the safe always the thing. People cashing out. This thing was $110,000, and we've already lost 10,000 of it right now. Why? Because of the war. Tell me the positive aspect. Well, Lockheed is going to do well in the war. I mean, someone's got to replace those big bombs, but I don't know. And, I mean, first you start out with the bombs. Where does it stop? Do we send troops in? I mean, it's crazy. Social media or Vox, as I call it. Vox is the ETF that has a lot of these stocks in, so not really a social. Again, it's you just see the big V. That's why we've been chasing it for a long time. Most of the social media stocks are pink, which is negative. It's gone negative growth. Big reds are Paramount and Reddit. Why? Because Reddit's a chat board. You're not. I mean, it's got a lot of people in it. It's got a lot of things, but I'm not a fan of that whole model. Because I grew up with Silicon Investor back in 1998, and that thing was never worth anything. And of course, they floundered around, didn't do good, didn't put money into it, and everything else. What's going up? Well, DraftKings is gone, but Flutter is down. And I don't know why I made it purple, but Flutter has gone down a little bit, and still the leader over DraftKings. DraftKings is going to put a 50-cent surcharge on a bet in September. That's going to die. Flutter's not going to do anything. You can still make your 3-cent bet, which I would hope people do. You got a few cents in the account, why not go both three and put a big, huge parlay together of 14 legs and try to come back? And of course, it never hits, and they got their 3 cents. Now they'll be paying money to the state. Illinois, I don't want to say, very good on taxing people who make a lot of money on something from the people. If you're going to take a lot of money, you're going to talk about record profits. Illinois is going to get that handout and says, "Come here, give us some." And so this is an issue for the big players now. But they might just say you can't. The minimum bet is $1, and they have to give Illinois 50% of it right there. It's going to affect online gambling, but I tell people the revenues are there. And it's good. People are betting more. Wait till football season. There'll be more bet this year if it's a good football season. But otherwise, a lot of the stuff isn't good. Disney had a good quarter, and but again, it's very expensive to go to Disney World now. And again, a little bit of recession means a little bit of less people, which means it could be much, much worse and stuff. So, and then Google. Let's look at our stocks in this area. Ever since the big V of the Liberation Day, it's been going good. It got kind of a little bit been there, but I'm a fan of Google, and it's one of the stocks. I like, and it does a lot of different things, Everybody's worried about search. So, could it go down to $80 in the worst situation? Sure, anything is possible. But I've been around Google for a long time. 18 PE, that's really low. I mean, for something that's pretty innovative. Meta, little dividend, little dividend. Big market cap, PE's 100. Ooh. But, Zuck wants to go after all the AI, got Scale AI, trying to poach people.
This is a reminder. We're going to have World War III or not.
When Prince Archduke Ferdinand got assassinated in, was it Austria-Hungary? We didn't think that was going to start Third World War III, did it? World War I, or the Great War. And World War II, well, it's easy to pick. Hitler went into, Poland, and that started it. England and France did it. Today, everybody would talk about, Poland, we'd like to help you. We'll give you missiles, but we ain't going to send our troops. Nobody wants to send their own troops anymore. You know, you think about what Churchill and they did to go in and help and fight the war with their troops when they had nothing they did to the England at the time. That's a pretty, you know, amazing thing. So, you know, are we in it? My philosophy: you messed with the money. They lost the refineries. They're not going to put up. It's going to go in there. And now, you know, are they all going to gang up on Israel? Who knows? You know, yes, probably. You know, I mean, Israel's got all the weapons and everything else, plenty of ships in the U.S. Gulf to fight. You know, this is how it starts. You know, and there's a lot of stingers around in the Middle East, and one stinger can knock down a ship, and here we go. So everything's there to happen, and you know, I mean, I hope it would. You know, there's just, you know, the regime change. 100% said no. People, almost literally everybody said we don't want this. You know, you can't take out a elected leader, even if they're talking about this and this. So I don't know. So Zuck's going after the top people. I mean, I read the one that says, you know, somebody's getting poached for 100 million. That's a lot of money. Hell, a lot of money, man. You know, not even LeBron made that much money in a year. So maybe there's more of that. Man, you know, we've been in TKO for a long time. You know, because I'm a UFC fan. Look at this thing. You know, now it's up to 170. Broke through a peak. This is a big deal. It breaks through it. It's a big deal. This is when you want to buy a stock if you're going to buy into it. You know, the trend line's slowly up, nice sloping upward. Of course, this is choppy as blazes, but the end result, if you're going to buy it, it broke a big trend line, and you know it's not so bad. You know, broke a new high, and a little dividend, big deal. PE's not so bad. Everybody's waiting for the deal. ESPN Plus is over. The deal's going to end, and I gotta believe it's going to be 3 times bigger for whoever picks it. People think it could be Disney, could be Netflix. You know, Disney isn't, you know, ESPN, but I'm just saying, we don't know. It could be a lot. Because you got a guaranteed audience. You got a guaranteed, I mean, they sell out everywhere. You know, UFC Chicago's coming in August. You know, Chimaev and Dikas Duplessis, DDP, 464 is the cheapest ticket. Cheapest ticket. Don't tell me this stock is not there. Of course, they got Worldwide Wrestling and blah, 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 but you know, I don't even know the wrestlers other than a couple people, you know. But, you know, this is a stock we like because it's got a huge rabid audience. And unless they screw it up somehow, somewhere, doesn't matter. Flutter number one, you know, talking again, you know, and in there, and, you know, if we go in there, always look at 200-day moving average. Solid area, kind of choppy right here, but, you know, it's positive. These are positive trends. It broke. This gap up is a big deal. You know, and Flutter, like I said, is well managed, the English company, and you know, I like it. And I guess, you know, everybody has to put up with, you know, stuff that has happened, but I think this football season is going to be good. A lot of money bet on it, you know, and take a look at the heat map. You know, Google went down, Lilly went down. That's 2 of our stocks that we never like to see. Was there a big bright green one? Well, you know, Micron and AMD and Coin and Dell and, you know, Exxon. Well, hey, Exxon we do own. Walmart, we got a olive green or whatever that called, plaid green, Scottish green. But you know, a lot of stuff. Coke went down 5%. Again, it's a choppy market. Everybody's nervous. A lot of people sitting on the sidelines, and you know, and that's, I understand it. You know, when it's war, it's a lot of uncertainty, and you know, we don't know the outcome of it. And you know, see, things like tariffs, you can change your mind. You can't change your mind in a war. You can't just say, well, I'm sorry, I just wiped out all your revenue and refiners cost you $1 billion. Let's just make a deal. How many people they kill? You know, I mean, these things are not easy. That's why there is no art of the deal in the war issue, and it's going to be ugly, and just be defensive, you know. If you want to take off some money to sit on the sides, I understand, you know. We're not. Remember, most of our assets, total assets, are real estate, but, you know, what's your value going to be if there's a recession? You know, I mean, if it gets like 2007 and 9, you know, I knew people had $700,000 houses go down to 100,000. You talk about being sick to your stomach. Go down to 100,000. You lost 85% of your value, your life. That's the trouble. That's what I said. There's nothing good. And we are close to $37 trillion in debt. Ding, ding, ding. We're going to hit it next week or next week after that. And We don't have a plan. We're going to have a budget that might pass with more debt. So, you know, just like I said, we're just trying to get through this. Don't know when it's going to end. And so this is what happens. You just sit there with the best stocks, try to sit there and not overtrade anything because, you know, the media is going to jump on one stock, the stock, go through. All right, you know, it's like I said, we're good. We're still positive for the year. 4% up. Be happy. All right, talk to you later. See you next week. Bye.